Today we're going to do a little bit of Qigong. So let's talk about Qigong. In Qigong, we use this word right here, Qi, which means energy. Qigong translates as energy work. But it's important to remember that this is just a word. It comes from the Chinese language. It's been used in Chinese for generations, for hundreds, thousands of years. And so we want to make sure that we understand it from that perspective. So let's take a look at it, okay? The character, which is all Chinese characters are based off of a pictographic symbolic system, is right here. So this character is meant to represent a pot of rice being cooked over a flame. So if we look at these little tiny components, here is rice, okay, me. This is the pot. This is the flame. Here is the energy that's being created from the water boiling up and down. And here's another expression of the lid flapping around. So this character is representing a concept of energy, transformation, change, fuel, right? Things that we can use. And so it's found in a lot of really common words. It's found in a lot of words. And so when we look at it, first let's just understand it's just a piece of language that we're going to use. And so when we practice Qigong, we can use this language to help us understand and further study our practice. It doesn't need to be something that is esoteric or hidden, right? It's just a word. And so when we look internally at our system and we start to observe our internal landscape, we can say to ourselves what we're observing is an aspect of energy, an aspect of our qi. And now we can begin to look at it a little bit more critically, logically, right? And work with it more. And that's what we want to be able to do in Qigong. Qigong is working skillfully with our own energy. So that's just a little bit about qi. And now let's get started in a little bit of a practice that's going to include some loosening drills that's meant to get the energy flowing up and down the body just a little bit more. And then two really simple Qigong movements to get really big movements of the body, get energy coming into your legs, into your waist, and get us interacting with the most important system we have, which is our breath. And the second most important system that we have, our posture, right? And then everything else is going to fall in line with that. So let's go ahead and get started with some loosening exercises. So stand in a really relaxed, natural posture like you're at line in the bank, and just take a few breaths here. Don't place any intention or expectation on the breath. First, just start from a place of observation. Let's take a nice big breath together. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And one more. And another for good measure. Good, settling back into that stance. And rocking the ankles, bring little feet a little closer together, and just bounce and rock up and down. So just focus on what's happening at the feet, reach through the toes, ground the heels, lift from the crown of the head, and just relax into what you're doing. The most important thing in Qigong practice is just to be present and let yourself sink into the experience of the body. Open the tiger's mouth, which is the thumb and forefinger. Place it on top of the knee so you feel really well supported. You get a good sense of the lower leg, and just gentle pumping of the legs. So feel your hips lift, feel them crouch, feel them lift and crouch. It's gonna be a really simple, relaxing, subtle movement. It doesn't have to be a big stretch. Put a lot of focus down here at the hands. So you feel the knees working. helping transfer energy from the ground right up into your hips and waist. Good. Stand on up. So relax, keep a nice softness at the ankles, the knees and the hips. And we're gonna do some waist circles. I like to place my arms behind my back, circling my wrist, so it's like an anchor, right? And I can feel where my sacrum and tailbone is. And then I'm just gonna do little circles. So use your knees and your feet as reference. So feel the pressure change all the way down at the ground. We want to feel pressure change, not a shift, like we're shifting things around. We want to feel them smoothly sort of just transfer and glide from one side to the other. And whenever you're ready, switch directions. Keep lifting from the crown of the head. Let the breath flow naturally in through the nose, out through the nose or mouth, and come to a rest. Last one of our loosening exercises, rolling the shoulders. So start from a little bit of a softened, crouched position, and inhale, raise the shoulders, and just let them sink back down. So imagine you were shrugging a coat up into a better position and letting it sink back down. Most people find that the breath will naturally begin to sync up with this movement. Exhaling as we go down, inhaling as we come up. Feel the shoulders draw down towards the hips, reach away from the hips. Keep the neck long and open. Now with all these moves, you can do them as many times as you would like. We want to do them until the body remembers and the mind forgets. And switch directions. Use all the joints to keep the movement nice and relaxed. And coming to a rest. Good. Staying for a moment here in our relaxed Wuji posture. Good. And shake it out. Okay, anytime you've been standing still for quite some time, you're gonna feel that effort build up in the feet, which is great for the feet and ankles. So anytime you need to sort of like fidget your feet around, go for it. And usually when we've come to an end of a part of our practice where you've been still for quite some time, we'll walk a little circle. And this is a really nice thing to do because you've been standing still. We've got this great input coming up from the ground. Take it with you. Take it with you as you walk this circle. Really pay attention to how you're moving your feet off the ground. Okay, we're gonna get a chance to do this again. Right now, we're gonna go into two really great Qigong exercises. Pulling down the sky and reaching for the horizon. These are gonna get energy moving into the big parts of the body, our shoulders, our ribs, our hips, okay? We're gonna do them 8 to 12 repetitions each. Now, as we're doing them, it's going to be coordinated with the breath. So for the first movement, it's inhaling up, exhaling down. Now, as you get comfortable with this movement, as we repeat these, feel free to sync this up with your own breath. It doesn't have to follow my rhythm. Everybody's unique. Everybody's movement, everybody's breath is a little bit different. So yours might be a little slower, might be a little faster. That's okay. We want it to be relaxed, consistent, and strengthening to the system. So as time goes on, it will deepen, it will soften. So allow that to happen naturally. Okay? And then the second move that we're gonna do so we can flow between them really easily is reaching for the horizon. Arms come up, we reach out, we go into a forward fold that works for us. Draw up and press back down into the ground. And so we're gonna go through those two moves, finish with a nice little stillness posture, and you're gonna feel the energy coming through your body. So let's go ahead and begin. Pulling down the sky. Inhale, in through the nose, out through the mouth or nose. As you get more comfortable with the move, begin to notice the top and bottom positions. It doesn't have to be too low. You're sitting down and then changing your mind, standing back up. Keep the gaze passively connected to the palms. So you notice them as they come down midline. You notice them as they reach out to the sides. But your posture is still connected to the horizon. Feel the hands opening and closing to help you do this movement. We're going to do 3 more. And I think this is the 3rd one. And coming to a rest at the bottom. Just relax, fidget if you need to. And reaching for the horizon. Inhale, reach up, out, and down. Inhale, exhale. Try to use all the joints. Tongue stays lifted to the palate throughout the movement. Two more. And last one. At this one, stay down here at the bottom a little bit. Keep the knees bent. Keep that gentle press downward. Imagine you were at a table, your hands are on the table and you're maybe in the process of sitting or standing, you don't know, right? But we want that awareness gathering here in this area so we can feel a sense of standing up above that, lifting from the crown of the head, separating top and bottom of the body. Feel the lower body relaxing, rooting. And nice big grounding breath. 2 more. And shake it out a little bit, walk your circle. You only get a few chances each practice to come out of your standing when you've been there for a long time. And you can feel it down at your feet. You can feel all the muscles in the bottom of the feet, your arch, your ankles, your calves, really, even your toes, right? Working. And so this is about sensory integration. So you've been standing. So really walk. This is to be the most grippy your feet might ever feel. So take advantage of that. And so you can get some compounding benefits within your practice. So thank you for joining me for this Qigong practice. As you can see, it brings the energy up. There's a saying, sweating, but not panting. So if you find yourself sweating a little bit, hot, right? You feel yourself kind of pumped up. These are all classical signs of Qi, energy, moving through the body, working through the body. It's just sometimes we're not as familiar with what it feels like to get a pump in our ribs, in our hips, and our waist through the process when we're getting our ribs and our diaphragm and all this stuff actioning really well with our movement. It fills up the space differently than getting a pump in our arms and our quads, which you also get when you're doing all these squats. So thanks again for joining, and see you next time.